Now this is interesting. Huh. Look at that. There's no water coming out of the tube over here for the spring. Well, that's something that now needs to be checked out for today. Well, isn't that interesting? Alright, so the first place that I need to check for this spring that's not flowing, there's a splitter box where half of the flow from that spring goes to the neighbors and half of it goes down to that little pond. So I'm going to go over there. It's right along the property line, see if there's any water coming into that. And I'm not expecting there to be, but that's the first thing to check. If there's no water going into that, then we're gonna have to hike all the way over to where the actual spring is, and my guess is that it's gotten plugged up over there. And hopefully we don't have a whole bunch of wasps under here, because it's not unusual for there to be a nest under. I think it's probably a little too early in the year, I hope. Oh, I take that back. Yeah, they're in there. Okay. Yep. Let's try not to get stung. Yeah, let's see. So I think their half of the water goes into that thing. Normally, that I believe is overflowing, and I'm not seeing any sort of water flow coming out of there. All right, well, I'm back here in the back pasture in the very far corner. The property line's right there. The pond that's spring fed is like way over yonder that way on the opposite side of the farm. I'm actually going to leave the camera here at the truck because, well, for one, I really don't want to have to carry this hiking all the way through the woods, and it's also the neighbor's property. And while I highly doubt I'm going to run into anyone, I don't know if they would appreciate me taking this with me. I will have my phone, however, and if there's anything interesting, I'll get a little bit of video of that. All right, so made it over here to the spring. This, somewhere underneath all of this mess right here, is where the intake is, and then it runs down through, I think, that white pipe going through there, and then there's a concrete box over there that has the pipe that it gets sucked into from there. It's kind of like a little, I don't know, sort of a settling pond, settling container there. Now it does look like there's an overflow there, and there's water coming out of that. I haven't taken the lid off yet, but it does kind of look like it's at least getting water to there. So, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll pull that off and see what's inside. Okay, well, we're getting water to here. Oh, there's a little salamander down in there. Ooh, hey, there's a crawdad too. Look at that, huh? There's all sorts of life inside this little tiny pool of water. That's interesting. So unfortunately, I think we've got the lesser ideal of the plugged up situation here. Normally, what happens is we aren't getting water to this box here, but obviously we're getting water there. It's flowing in. It's coming out the overflow. So that means that somewhere in the line from here all the way over to the farm, we aren't getting water. Now the only good thing, well, I guess you could say kind of good thing, is that this did happen a few years back, probably 6 or 8 years ago. And because of that, we had to dig it up in several areas, put T-post in at each one of the spots that we dug it up. And of course there's a union there now. So there's at least marked areas where I can start digging the line back up and seeing if I can find out if water is getting at least to that point, and try and narrow it down as to where this plug is in the line. All right, so I dug up this spot, and this is one of the places where it got dug up before, and you can see put in union there. So I loosened this up, and as soon as I loosened that up, you could hear air going out through there. And it did that for a little while, and then I started getting water coming through here. So I'm wondering if it may have just been that there was an airlock in here. Now, one thing that I didn't show is back up at the spring box up there, the intake for the water that goes into that cement box, that had gotten pretty plugged up. So I'm wondering if maybe that was kind of covered over and then got a little bit of air into the system, and then when it kind of flushed back over so that it was getting water coming down through there again, maybe we got an airlock in it then. I'm not sure. I'm gonna hike back over to the box there and see if there's any water flowing through it. So as you can probably tell, that is flowing out of there a whole lot faster than it was before. So that was definitely at least partially plugged. Now, we're gonna see if this is pulling on here. And it does feel like there's a little bit of suction on that line. So that is a good thing. That should mean that there's water flowing down through there. Put the cover back on it. Alrighty folks, well, as I think you can probably see, we got some water trickling out of the pipe over there. So our line is now airlock free. We got water coming down here to our pond, mud puddle, whatever you want to call it. So this should be good to go for a little while. I'll probably have to go back up to the spring box over on the neighbor's property again, maybe this fall sometime, after all the leaves have come down, and go up there, check it again, clear any leaves off from there, and make sure it's good to go through the winter. But for now, that wraps up this project. So that's going to be it for today's video. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.